when I think of 20 years in one place, you're right. I know that locker room. I know that home locker room. I know that home tunnel. I know, which way the wind blows. I know everything about that. I know the way it smells. I know what a night game's like. I know what the fans are going to sound like. So in some ways, that'll be really unique. I've never had that experience going to, New England. Will be a first time for me being on the other sideline. So, I'm not going to necessarily reminisce. I don't think this is the moment for that. And I'll have plenty of opportunities to reminisce about my football career. None of which I really care to do right now because I'm so much in the moment. And I'm not going to be thinking about, 20 years of history. I'm going to be thinking about one night of football, a Sunday night game coming off a really tough loss. They're coming off a really tough loss. So both teams are going to be fighting and clawing for a win.
Be your message to the fans as you now embark on going back to Gillette.
Well, I wouldn't expect a homecoming. I mean, I think they're there to root for their team, and their team is the Patriots. And I certainly have a lot of people that cheered for me over the years. I know there'll probably be, I have a lot of family there, and I have a lot of friends that have wanted to go to the game. They've been asking me about tickets for 6 months. So there'll be a lot of excitement from them in the stands. But, I think the home crowd at Gillette is a great crowd. And I think they're going to cheer for their team as I would expect them to. And I think if they know anything about me, they're going to know that I'm going out there to try to win the football game.
You just mentioned Bill Belichick. Do you still hear a lot of his teachings in your head?
Well, I have 20 years of being there. Obviously he's a great mentor for me. And yes, there's definitely great lessons I've learned from him. And he's a great football coach, and he does a great job for his team. And any player, I think they would just hope that their coaches gives them everything they got. And I'm sure every great coach wants every player to give them everything they got. And I think that's what makes a great relationship. I've actually prepared a statement that I wanted to say, and it's really all that I have to say on the subject. Comments made by Thomas Edward Brady, a 77-year-old insurance company CEO who should know better at this point in his life, doesn't necessarily reflect the views or positions held by his son, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. So furthermore, should Tom Sr. continue to speak out on behalf of his son without the express written consent, Tom Jr. reserves the right to eventually put him in a home against his will.
All right, so Tom Brady, about to break the all-time passing record back home on the road at Gillette Stadium this Sunday. Don't know if you've heard. I'll venture to say that Tom Brady is the most prolific player in NFL history at, when he wants to, saying a whole lot of nothing. Miles Simmons from Pro Football Talk always has something to say. Let me start by saying, word around the campfire is, brother, happy birthday. Happy 21st birthday. You can't be older than 21.
I would love to not be older than 21. I'm actually turning 30 today. So it feels like, when you do this for a while, you're like the sweet young thing. And now that I'm no longer in my 20s, I don't think I'm the sweet young thing anymore. So, but thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Congratulations, 30. That's a milestone.
Happy birthday.
All right.
Man.
So look, we're all getting this gift that is the return on Sunday. Brady says he's not expecting a homecoming. Michael's our resident expert on all things Boston and Patriots, as I'm sure you know. We have this disagreement about the reception that Brady should expect to receive or should receive when he goes back to Foxborough. Now, I know there are Patriots fans in the stands, but I gotta believe, Miles, that this is unprecedented. So I don't think they're gonna treat it like any old player coming back. This is a Mount Rushmore guy in Boston. I expect them to throw rose petals at his feet, for crying out loud, to give him his flowers, as they say. What do you expect in terms of the atmosphere on Sunday night?
I think it'll be like you just said. I mean, I don't know how you could have anything else other than that, right? This guy won 6 Super Bowls for this franchise over the course of 20 years. And like you said, it really is just unprecedented. I mean, even when Peyton Manning goes back to Indianapolis, it's not like Tom Brady going back to Gillette. It's just not. I mean, and Peyton Manning was a terrific quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts before he went on to win another Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos, but it's not the same. And, we talk about Peyton Manning as one of the great all-time quarterbacks, but nobody's calling Peyton Manning the GOAT anymore, right? And that is exactly what Tom Brady is. He's a legendary quarterback, and his legend has only grown since he's gone to Tampa Bay and won another Super Bowl. But I don't know how you can't have anything but just a wonderful, awesome homecoming reception, despite what Tom Brady says he's expecting. It's got to be a homecoming there at Gillette on Sunday.
Okay, I don't want to put you. I don't want you to put you in a position, Miles, of having to take a side in the divorce proceedings. But the divorce is taking place. Bill Belichick on one side, Tom Brady on the other. Who are you rolling with? Who are you gonna stay friends with, and who are you gonna brush off when you see him in the supermarket?
Oh man, I mean, it's hard, right? Because we all want to say, like, what was more instrumental in the success? Was it Tom Brady or was it Bill Belichick? But it's their partnership together that worked so well for such a long amount of time. And frankly, it's interesting to me that Tom Brady was able to go on and win a Super Bowl immediately with another team, because that makes this run even more unprecedented, because we didn't see that from Joe Montana when he goes to Kansas City, right? I mean, that didn't really happen. And yeah, Peyton Manning won something with the Denver Broncos, but that was way more about the defense in 2015 than it was about Peyton Manning, because he threw like 17 interceptions and I think had only 9 touchdowns that season. So, I mean, I guess if I have to choose, like, today, who do I want to be with when it comes to maybe winning a championship this year? It would definitely be Tom Brady, because frankly, I don't see Mac Jones and that squad over there doing anything that would, at this point, even make it to the postseason, let alone the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I mean, if I'm going to the supermarket, I probably would want to go with Tom Brady too, because he seems like a more fun guy to be around than Bill Belichick.
So Holly, what he's saying is, Miles is saying that Brady gets custody, but he'll spend weekends with Belichick, is basically what he's saying.
Exactly. Yes.
Right,
No, that's
like
the perfect way to pick that analogy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But see, like, you remember you went to the grocery store when you were a kid? Before, you had some stern parents that stop asking. And you see all this stuff around. You see candy, and you see donuts and cookies, and you say, let me get that. Tom Brady, none of that. We go into the produce section. You're getting apples and carrots and some broccoli.
Avocado.
So it's not going to be fun. Yeah, of course,
Okay.
avocado.
Well, yes. So now he gets to
Right?
go with Bruce Arians,
That's
where he gets like every piece of candy that he ever wanted, like Antonio Brown. Yeah, of course. Now they're reporting to Richard Sherman, like Brady's been recruiting him. So that's another, of the cereal boxes that Bill Belichick would never let him go get. He gets to go have it now. So I guess that's why he wanted to go there.
No, that's no way to be celebrating your 30th birthday, going to the grocery store with Tom Brady. But look, my last question for you involves Brady's division. So he mentioned the tough loss that the Patriots had on Sunday. They lost to the New Orleans Saints. Jameis was pretty good, but the defense was very impressive. Malcolm Jenkins with that pick 6. This team won the division last year. Do you see any scenario in which the Buccaneers don't win the NFC South and that the Saints win it again?
I would say I would be more threatened by the Panthers right now than I would be the Saints, because Jameis has performed okay, but they also haven't asked him to do very much yet with New Orleans. I mean, I don't think he's even reached 200 passing yards in any of these first 3 games. He's got a bunch of touchdowns, but when you haven't necessarily had to be in a real shootout, right, and you haven't had to throw the ball around the field, and when Jameis does that, that's where he usually puts the ball at risk. That's why he threw 30 interceptions the year before Tom Brady came in and replaced him. So I don't know how much I'd be threatened by the Saints right now, especially given all their injury concerns. But the Panthers, man, you can say that they haven't played great teams yet, but they're number 1 in defense when it comes to total yards, and they're number 2 in defense when it comes to points allowed. They've been playing great there in Carolina, and they just lost J.C. Horn for probably the rest of the year because their young cornerback, he just broke a couple bones in his foot last week on Thursday Night Football. They bring in C.J. Henderson yesterday. It's a guy that they apparently very like a lot before the draft. They almost picked him when they picked Derek Brown at number 7 overall. He goes number 9 overall to the Jaguars, has a couple injury concerns now. Fell out of favor there. Now he goes to Carolina. Who knows what that defense is going to be able to do with him? So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to sustain what's going on in Carolina throughout the whole season as more teams get tape of that defense and figure out how to attack it. But so far, things are going really, really well for them. So I think that, the Buccaneers are still a great team. And they didn't necessarily look like a great team on Sunday at SoFi Stadium because the Rams are a really, really great team with Matthew Stafford at QB. But I expect the Buccaneers to win, but I think that the Panthers are probably their biggest threat.
Well, that's going to be a hell of a appetizer for the entree. We got Panthers at Cowboys. Look, I hope you're right about the Panthers being for real because I'm trying to trade for Sam Darnold to help my 0-3 fantasy team. But that's a conversation for another day. Miles Simmons, we appreciate you. Miles with a Y, we appreciate you stopping by on your birthday. Give Florio our best, and we appreciate everything you're doing, man. Thanks for all the good work you're putting out.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll do.